What's up, everybody? Geekopedia here. Welcome back for another video today, and here we are. I'm going to be beginning my 4-part review of my favorite anime of all time, Dragon Ball Z. But before we get to it, though, I have a mission for you guys. So, I need you to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, because if you don't, within the next 5 seconds, the world's gonna explode. And I don't really think you guys want the world to explode, so you come on, please subscribe to my channel. If you do, you'll save the world and you'll be our heroes. You'll be my hero, especially. So, did you do it yet? Great. The world's saved thanks to you. I love you guys. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's get to the review. For those who know me in real life, or even those who know me on social media like Twitter, you would know that Dragon Ball Z is not just my favorite anime of all time, but it's pretty much my favorite fictional, series or franchises ever. Because ever since I was a little kid, I have loved this show to death. I've loved the anime. I have all the episodes on DVD. I have the majority of the manga. I own the majority of the manga, and even then, I downloaded on my computer an app that lets me read the manga straight through. So, and of course, as you can see, I've got a full shelf. You probably can't see it. I've got a full shelf of Dragon Ball characters back there. So yeah, it is not an understatement to say I love Dragon Ball. So, with that said, though, I can't contain all my thoughts on this series in one video, especially with how long Dragon Ball Z is. So that's why I'm splitting it into 4 parts. And this video, which is part 1, will be talking about the Saiyan Saga, which is the first saga in Dragon Ball Z. So, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, for those of you who don't know, Dragon Ball Z is a sequel to Dragon Ball, which was about a young boy named Goku who goes around the world and he has to find these 7 mystical artifacts called Dragon Balls, which they're literally just like orange orbs with stars in them, and each orb has a different number of stars, and they all count up to 7. So you have the 1-star Dragon Ball, which is Dragon Ball with 1 star, the 2-star Dragon Ball, which has two stars inside of it. So kind of that thing, and it all counts up to 7. And once you get all 7 of the Dragon Balls, you can summon a dragon named Shenron who will grant you a wish. Then again, the number of wishes he can grant you kind of varies all throughout the series. It starts out at just 1, but if I remember correctly, over the course of the show, he begins to grant people 2 wishes. So, there's that there. But the downside of them, though, is right after you make a wish, they become inactive for a year. So you have to wait another year to search for them again. So, with that little brief thing out of the way, Goku, he becomes a very talented martial artist all throughout the original Dragon Ball, and he encounters many friends like Yamcha, Bulma, who was his first friend, Tien, Shinhan, and Chaozu, and his best friend Krillin, and Master Roshi, who teaches him most, if not all, of what, Goku knows about fighting, especially with modern-day Goku. You could trace back a lot of it to his training with Master Roshi. So, Dragon Ball Z picks up about 5 years after the end of Dragon Ball, where in Dragon Ball, Goku was mostly a kid. Well, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku's an adult now, so we get to see him as an adult. He's married to this young girl named Chi-Chi, and they have a son named Gohan. Goku named Gohan after his late grandfather, Grandpa Gohan, which I'll get to in a moment, because originally it was believed that Goku was just a weird kid because he had a tail, like a monkey tail, when he was a kid in Dragon Ball. And it was pretty much just written off as, oh, that's weird, he's got a tail. Nobody else has a tail. Why does Goku have a tail? Well, in Dragon Ball Z, it's explained that Goku is actually a member of an alien race called the Saiyans. And the Saiyans, they all have monkey tails, and they're this group of, war fighters. They go to different planets, and they'll conquer them. And then they'll sell the conquered planets, people who want the planets and who will pay good money for them. So, Um, that's why Goku had a monkey tail, and why Goku, even before his training with Master Roshi, he did have an inherent like power within him. He was inherently strong even as a little boy, and that's because all Saiyans are inherently strong. And so Dragon Ball Z, it picks up where we meet Goku's eldest brother, Raditz. He comes to Earth. Raditz, he realizes that his brother Goku is on Earth. However, Raditz wants to recruit Goku to help him continue the legacy of the Saiyans, because years ago the Saiyans were destroyed by a certain somebody, which I'll get to in part 2, because that helps pertain to that arc. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you know who I'm talking about, but I'll just leave it at that. Raditz is Raditz and Goku are 2 of the 4 surviving full-blooded Saiyans. Gohan is a half-blooded Saiyan, since Chi-Chi, his mother, is a human, and Goku, his father, is a Saiyan. So, Goku, Raditz, and the 2 other characters, Vegeta and Nappa, are the other full-blooded Saiyans. Vegeta was the one that I showed you on the box art. So, long story short, Raditz arrives. He tries to convince Goku to join him, but Goku, being the kind-hearted person he is, because Goku, he's described as the most kind-hearted person on the planet. The majority of his friendship group used to be his enemies. Yamcha was his enemy, Tien was his enemy, even Piccolo, who I'll get to in a moment. Piccolo was pretty much the final villain of Dragon Ball, and the most dangerous and powerful foe Goku had encountered at that point. And even Piccolo kind of joins Goku's side. So that just goes to show how good of a person Goku is. And so, of course, Goku says no to Raditz, and he's not going to go to other planets and kill innocent people just to take their planet from them. That's just not who Goku is. So, of course, Goku says no, which causes Raditz to kidnap Gohan. And that's where we meet Piccolo. Piccolo comes back into the picture, which it's kind of odd to explain, but in the end of the original Dragon Ball, Goku met Piccolo's first iteration, which was called King Piccolo. King Piccolo, he was the personification of the evil within this guy named Kami's heart. Kami is the guardian of the earth, and he's all of the good of King Piccolo, and then King Piccolo is all the evil in that. So they're one person split into 2, pretty much. You got the good half and the bad half. So Goku is able to destroy King Piccolo. However, King Piccolo, before he dies, he sprouts an offspring, which Piccolo's race, the Namekians, they're able to produce asexually. So King Piccolo produces the Piccolo that we know of now as his child, but also sort of reincarnation. So where it's in a way a part of King Piccolo, but it's not King Piccolo. It's not King Piccolo at all. Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z is a completely different character. It's just he carried over some traits from King Piccolo. It's like Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You had Groot from the first movie, and then the 2 and 3 had the new Groot who we saw grow up. It's exactly the same with Piccolo and King Piccolo. So Piccolo, he joins Goku because at this point Piccolo still wants to conquer the Earth, and he doesn't want Raditz or the Saiyans to take that away from him, so he reluctantly teams up with Goku to fight Raditz, and they win, however, at the cost of Goku's life. Now, this is pretty crazy, because when I was growing up, not a lot of shows were this risky. And keep in mind, this was before I knew what anime was. It took me a while to understand what anime was and to get into other animes like Naruto or Bleach or there's another one. I think it's. I watched a little bit of Blue Exorcist. I mean, I watched a little bit of that, but not as much as Dragon Ball or Naruto. But when I was first watching Dragon Ball, I had no idea what anime was, so I just thought it was just another show on television, when it was shattering everything I knew about what a cartoon could be at that point. Because a lot of the cartoons that people grew up with, were like SpongeBob, um, like the Nick Jr. shows, like all those, you thought that was the limits of what animation could do. And then you had something like Dragon Ball Z come along, and you have these characters like punching each other, powering up, getting these different power levels. It's just awesome. And the little kid in me, like the 6-year-old boy in me, was like so memorized by it because I didn't think that was possible for a show like this. So, with that said, it did something that shocked me that I didn't think could happen. Goku, the main character, dies in like the third episode of Dragon Ball Z. He holds Raditz down while Piccolo charges up this attack, which is the Special Beam Cannon, which is one of my favorite attacks in Dragon Ball. He fires it at Goku and Raditz and kills them both. But before he dies, Raditz informs Piccolo that Vegeta and Nappa, the other two Saiyans, who are way stronger than Raditz is, are going to come to Earth within a year. And Raditz was... I know Raditz gets a lot of flack now with how like the characters have evolved now, but back then Raditz's power was a big deal, and for him to say, "Oh, these guys are 10 times stronger than I am," that even freaked Piccolo out in a way, because he and Goku were arguably the strongest fighters on the planet at that time, and they were having a hard time against Raditz. So if it took that much effort to even put a dent in Raditz, and these other two Saiyans are supposed to be 10 times stronger than he is, yeah, that's pretty freaky. So, with that said, when Goku dies, the characters have to wait around a year to collect the Dragon Balls to revive Goku, because I think they said, I'm gonna be honest, it's been a little while since I've seen the earliest episode of Dragon Ball Z, but I think they said somebody made a wish on the Dragon Balls, which prevented them to, like, make another one for another year, so they had to wait a year. Meanwhile, Piccolo, he pretty much kidnaps Gohan and trains him in the woods to try and make him this battle-hardened warrior to go up against the Saiyans. But little does he know that Piccolo actually develops a very strong bond with Gohan. And I would argue that kind of solidifies Piccolo alongside Vegeta, which I'll get to Vegeta as the series goes on, because Vegeta is that kind of character who develops over the course of the entire series, whereas Piccolo, even in the Saiyan Saga, we get a lot of development from him. So we see Piccolo turn from this cold-hearted, brash warrior to sort of this person who kind of has great joy with being around Gohan. Like there's that meme where Piccolo's a better father to Gohan than Goku is, and a lot of that comes from this arc, because you see Piccolo is kind of change in a way when he's with Gohan. And so it's just really beautiful. And by the time the Saiyan, Vegeta and Nappa arrive, Piccolo and Gohan have a strong bond with each other. And it's just really beautiful to see. And spoiler alerts, when Piccolo dies against Nappa, Gohan's next to him, and we see Piccolo, like, start shedding tears, thanking Gohan for, like, changing his life and, like, changing his heart in a way. It's just so beautiful. So while they're all on Earth spending a year training for Vegeta and Nappa, Goku is in Otherworld, which is, like, the Dragon Ball equivalent to, like, heaven. Goku meets this being called King Kai, who's actually technically North Kai, but we call him King Kai. King Kai teaches Goku these different techniques, specifically the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb, which is my other favorite technique in this franchise. So a year goes by, and Goku, he's revived by the Dragon Balls, but he still has a little bit to get from Otherworld back to Earth. So the Z Fighters, that's like their team name. The Z Fighters, they have to hold off against Vegeta and Nappa while Goku arrives. And within that time, Yamcha, Tien, Chaozu, and of course Piccolo are all killed by Vegeta and Nappa. And it's like I said, it's crazy. More than half the main cast is dead right now. And we're not even we're barely 10 episodes in. We're barely 10 episodes in, and most of the main cast is dead. Or at the very least, incapacitated. This is a pretty nuts show, guys. So, long story short, Goku finally arrives. He lays waste to Nappa, which that's a good way to establish how strong Goku's gotten in the last year. Nappa took out single-handedly with with a little help from Vegeta and their little like minions, the Cybermen, and with them, he's able to take out all these heavy hitter fighters. Whereas Goku, he arrives and just lays waste to Nappa, and um, of course, we see one of Vegeta's cruelest moments when he kills Nappa for like failing to stand up against Goku, and so we get the first fight between Goku and Vegeta. So of course, I'll be more in depth with it over the course of this 4-part series, but Vegeta goes through like a big character development, and it starts here. Vegeta, he is the former prince of the Saiyans, and Goku, he comes from a line of lower class warriors. So there's like a power hierarchy within like the Saiyan race when they were still alive, and Goku was pretty much would have been at the bottom of the barrel. But here we have Goku just beating Vegeta, and it's kind of breaking Vegeta's pride in a way because he thinks he's the best because he's royalty. Since he's the prince of all the Saiyans, he's automatically the best. So it shocks him that this low class warrior is beating him so like badly. So with no other options, of course, Vegeta, we learn like what the significance of the Saiyan's tail is. When a Saiyan has a tail and they're looking at the full moon, they turn into a giant like monster called a great ape. And Vegeta turns into that, and Goku gets the horrible revelation that he was the one that accidentally killed his own grandfather. He looked at the full moon when he had his Saiyan tail, and he turned into a great ape and accidentally killed Grandpa Gohan. And so we see that flood of emotion go through Goku, and he kind of uses that trauma in a way to try and beat Vegeta, but even he needs help now. So Krillin and Gohan come in, they help defeat Vegeta, and eventually Vegeta's just so darn humiliated, he's like, I'm out of here. And he leaves. He tries to leave, but Krillin tries to like stop him and kill him before he can leave. But Goku convinces Krillin to spare him. And to be honest, the reasoning is kind of different depending on which version you watch. In the original Dragon Ball Z, Goku wants to spare Vegeta because he sees the good in him, just like with everybody else. But in like the original manga and like the revamp, I call it, which is called Dragon Ball Z Kai, it's explained that Goku wants to be the one to defeat Vegeta, and he and Vegeta are the only Saiyans left alive, and so he doesn't want to be the only one. So it really depends which version you're watching when it comes to the reason why Goku spares Vegeta, but either one I think really works. And so Vegeta leaves, everybody's getting tended to, but they realize the Dragon Balls are permanently inactive. Because when Piccolo died, Kami also died, and Kami, was being the guardian of the Earth, was the one who created the Dragon Balls. So when the creator dies, the Dragon Balls and Shenron, they die. And since Piccolo and Kami are effectively one person split into two individuals, if one dies, the other one dies as well. So, they have to find another way to bring their friends back to life, in which that leads into the next arc, which I'll get to in the next video. So, with that, I feel like I've talked a little bit too much about the story and not my thoughts on it. Anyway, I love the show so darn much. Goku has been my hero for a long time, ever since I can remember. And all the scripts that I write, if they even have a little tiny bit of action implemented in them, you can find hints of Dragon Ball in that because it inspires me greatly. So, the character development is really good, especially for Piccolo. He's easily the best developed character in this arc. And we do get to see Vegeta start to develop somewhat, which it doesn't necessarily become noticeable until the series goes on. So, with that said, this was part one of my Dragon Ball Z review. The action is amazing. If you love action anime, this is right up your alley because the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, knows how to choreograph a fight. He really knows how to do it and do it great. Dragon Ball Z was one of those shows that if they said that there's going to be an awesome fight and they kept building up tension and they kept hyping up this fight, you knew it was going to be good because it almost always delivered. So every time, like, they would be building up to one big fight, I would get excited because they'd always live up to that hype that they built around themselves. So it's legitimately good. And even, I think even by today's standards, they still hold up. Dragon Ball isn't called the godfather of manga and anime for nothing. So, that goes to speak of its legacy. So, I don't want to give all my thoughts away because, of course, it's a 4-part series. So, if you like this video, remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You don't want to be missing any more of my updates. If you've seen my, video release slate that I posted on the community tabs, I'm going back and forth whether the next video is going to be part 2 or a review for the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, I'll let you guys decide that for me in the comments. If you want to hear about Mario, then I'll do Mario. If you want me to continue the Dragon Ball series by doing the next arc immediately, then let me know as well. So with that, remember, this has been Geekopedia. God loves you and I love you too, and I will see you guys next time.